don't have to give a comment on that, but I had a long phone conversation with the Prime Minister before this decision was taken.
How would you describe this summit?
This is a summit of partners being on the same foot. It's not the richer part of the world, that means Europe, and the poorer part of the world, that means Africa. We have to deal with the African friends in a very respectful way.
Do you feel that there is a distinction between the African leaders and the EU leaders in the sense that they will tell you, yes, we will abide by this, but then they won't?
No, there is a common understanding that this is a global, a common problem, that you have to provide for a common answer.
Is there enough money in the fund?
Nobody knows enough or not, but at least it's a very good step forward. We will have not only fund signing and trying to agree that this money needs to be very well spent. I mean, to help development, to help creation of chances and possibilities for African people to stay in their countries, not to leave and flee. But of course, we need to talk about joint actions with readmission treaties, with possibility to return back some illegal migrants, to tackle their smuggling and contraband of people. So there is a lot of issues, and the situation is not yet taken care, neither in Europe, neither in the Fed countries. I mean, not only Africa, but I mean also Turkey and other countries. So, but at least we have very good chance to talk between the European Union and African countries, and we are ready to sign trust fund opening today. Of course it is, because it is NATO members including. So from security point of view, always Turkey was with us, and we hope that we will be able to finalize agreement with Turkey also on the migration question.
Do you feel that the African...
Member states increasing the money in the trust fund?
Today we have close to 2 billion, but of course it's not only about amount. It's about, I'm ex-finance minister, so that means not only about amount but also about the quality of spending. And some African leaders said that probably they do not need money at all. They need chances for their people to have investments from European Union because they need a labor market to be able to absorb and to give chances for young people to stay in their countries. It's really not only about money.
Because we need to keep control over our borders. That's very important. So it's border control exactly according to the rules that we are adhering to the rules that we have in Europe. We can do this because when our authorities tells us we cannot guarantee the security and control over our borders, we need to listen to that, and that is why we took that decision. We're taking that decision today. And also the issue of the ID control. We need to make sure that people that get on the ferries on the way to Sweden, that they can identify themselves, because we need to make sure that we know who are coming to Sweden.
How did your colleagues react to that?
No, I think it's normal. We're all in a difficult situation. Sweden has received so many refugees, far more than any other countries per capita counted. So that is they understand what we're doing. Of course, they are also discussing and wondering how will it affect us, and that's legitimate. But they do understand what we're doing, because
building a fence. How is the situation like?
This is not a fence. We need to make sure that we have control over what people comes into Sweden, because it's a matter of both the border control, but also that you have to identify yourself on the ferry before you enter the ferry, who you are, because we cannot just let anybody just see them who is here. So we need to take that control. Sorry?
Can Schengen be sustainable?
If we handle this together, the European Union, that is why I've underlined that so many times. This is not an issue for 1 or 2 or 3 countries. This is an issue for the whole European Union. We need to manage this together, and that is why we need to handle this situation right now, but also discuss what will the future rules look like, because we need another system, that is obvious.
What the new route be? We're mentioning only the EU. What about Africa and the leaders of Africa?
Yeah, but of course, but the question was put to me for how do we do in Europe? The conference, the summit that we have now with the African countries is very important, and we're discussing both how Europe and Africa can cooperate in such a way that African countries can develop people, not least the young people, can feel a good future for themselves in the African countries, because they want to, of course, stay home. So we are in favor, everybody, of a free choice of migration, but not the forced choice when you have to flee because you cannot live in your own country. And that's what we have to find the balance. So we are in favor of migration, yes, but we need to make sure that the African countries can develop in a good way. If people flee, we need to make sure that we adhere to the international rules and human rights.
Well, I think that's very challenging. This is part of the effort to have a more organised migration flow, more legal routes for migration. It's very important that Africa and European leaders are having this discussion, and that we will agree a declaration and an action plan today, and that we are now here this morning signing the trust fund.
And on readmission, how is the atmosphere? How are the talks?
Well, that's been a very important part of the negotiations. Clearly readmission and returns is one element, but I would say the discussions here have been quite broad in relation to the challenges that are connected to migration in countries of origin and transit. We've had much discussion on energy policy and climate change and the needs to develop in the various economies of Africa and how Europe can help with that. So it's been a broad discussion, as well as focusing on some of those specific issues in the final document.
Would you call the summit a success?
I think any place where you have world leaders meeting together, particularly focusing on what is a great humanitarian crisis of our times, it is important that we get together and make decisions. The success will be seen in the implementation over the next number of months and years. There are short-term issues, but there are many medium and longer-term issues as well.
And the topics in the afternoon, like Sweden is introducing border controls, Slovenia is building a fence. How is the situation in the Union?
Well, I think it's very challenging at present. Countries of origin as well as countries of destination are finding this extremely challenging. And that's why solidarity is important, and that we work together to see what is the very best we can do in terms of managing these migration flows, because nobody wants to see people dying in the Mediterranean.
Well, yesterday we had very good discussions, and we will continue today. It's quite clear that it's not possible to address this crisis only in Europe, and cooperation with African colleagues is very, very important. From yesterday's discussion, I heard a lot of messages of cooperation. I heard a lot of will to actually do something to deal with the pressure, not only with consequences but also with pressure, and this is why we are here today. Later today we will have a council meeting also with our European colleagues. We will talk about agreements with Turkey. So today will be all about tackling the root causes. I fully respect the agreement that we have had to relocate people, to redistribute people. This is something we have to do as well. But today we are here to deal with the root causes and to help our African colleagues and ask for their help to tackle the migration pressure.
It's very important. We are geographical neighbors, we are historic neighbors. We've had our future is interlinked, so cooperation is absolutely necessary.
Are you happy with the funds given to Africa?
For me, it's not so much the funds, but it's really the program we do together. The commitment, if we implement what we agree, the funds will come.